oversight.
If there's no good time, if you know you're going to have to leave eventually, why not have everything in place to make sure Americans to get out, to make sure our Afghan allies get out, so we don't have these psychotic scenes in Kabul?
Number one, as you know, the intelligence community did not say back in June or July that, in fact, this was going to collapse like it did. Number one.
They thought the Taliban would take over, but not this quickly.
But not this quickly, not even close.
Joining us now is Congresswoman Susan Wild. She is a Democrat from Pennsylvania and a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Ma'am, were you satisfied with the president's answer there?
I'm not particularly satisfied with that answer, but having said that, let me say first that I absolutely think it was time to get out of Afghanistan, served all these years.
I think polling will show your answer to be exactly right. Most Americans wanted to get out of Afghanistan 20 years on. Back to Dana's question, are you satisfied with any of the answers that have come from our commander-in-chief?
Well, we haven't heard that much yet from President Biden, but I am not going to fault him for that. I frankly hope that he is spending most of his time consulting with Defense and the State Department and Intel and making sure that we are doing everything we possibly can. Right now, I think that's a much more important function than talking, quite frankly, to the media or even to the public, because right now, we're talking about minutes and hours that really matter. So I am not going to fault the president for not having said much, but no, I think
it was quite surprising yesterday when he came out to talk about a booster vaccine, then turned tail when all the reporters were shouting questions and had nothing to say. You're aware of Martin Oler, longtime CBS White House correspondent. At this point in the Biden presidency, he's had one-on-one interviews 9 times. By comparison, Donald Trump did 50. President Obama had 113. So has he communicated enough and effectively with what's happening there on the ground?
Well, I think we've had a lot of communication from the White House. I don't think we've had enough communication on Afghanistan and the situation right now. We deserve answers. We intend to get answers. You've already heard that the House Foreign Affairs Committee plans to conduct hearings as early as next week. We will be in Washington. I will be there. I've got an awful lot of questions. I know my colleagues on both sides of the aisle now. Right along with the administration, we should be focused on damage control. What can we do to right the situation as much as we possibly can?
Congresswoman, one of the other things is communications with our allies. Of course, you're on the Foreign Services Committee. You know how important that is. The Telegraph of the UK is reporting that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, was trying to reach President Biden since early Monday morning. And he wasn't able to talk to President Biden until 10 p.m. their time on Tuesday. So in some ways, it's like not just the American people, but it's one of our closest ally not getting calls from the White House.
I'm always going to say that it's important to communicate with our allies. It was one of my greatest objections to the last administration, that I didn't think that there was enough of that. And I will certainly be criticizing this administration if it fails to do so. We need the help of our allies right now. We're going to have to rebuild a lot of relationships. This is a prime example of why we need our allies so much. And so let's move forward. Let's get this done, and let's move towards.
You're exactly right about these allies overseas. One last thing, the hearings next week. Can you guarantee that they will be public and not behind closed doors?
Well, I can't guarantee that, but
will you push for it? I mean, we all want to know, right? As do you.
But let me just say this. We also often have classified briefings, and I'm not opposed to also having classified briefings if there are matters that the Defense Secretary and the Secretary of State cannot talk about publicly. We can have classified briefings, but we also need to have public hearings, because the public does deserve to know what happened. And most importantly, Gold Star families and veterans deserve to know exactly what happened here. And quite frankly, the Afghan people who we have pledged to help, they deserve to know what is going on. And also, we need to learn from this failure.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you. Susan Wild, we appreciate it.
Democrat from Pennsylvania, thank you. Please come back.
Will do.
We've been talking about this Pentagon briefing. It's going to happen in about 10 minutes now. We'll check in there with Admiral Kirby. Just getting word that it's been pushed back 30 minutes, so stand by. It's a moving target at the moment. We'll bring it to you when it begins. Plus, The Taliban takeover weighing heavily on Gold Star families, as just mentioned. The family of Javier Gutierrez, the last U.S. soldier killed in Afghanistan, saying that his death was not in vain. His father is here to share his thoughts when we continue.
Veteran homeowners, New Day USA is holding the line on interest rates. The New Day 2 1/4 refi is the lowest in their history. 2 1/4%, just 2.48 APR. Save thousands a year.
Call 1-877-689-3038.
At T-Mobile for Business, unconventional thinking means we see things differently so you can focus on what matters most. Whether it's ensuring food arrives as fresh as when it departs, being first on the scene when every second counts, or teaching biology without a lab, we are the leader in 5G, #1 in customer satisfaction, and a partner who includes 5G in every plan. So you get it all, without trade-offs. Unconventional thinking. It's better for business.
Want to see some dinosaurs?
Unbelievable.
Want to see Eden? Come on, it's almost time for the show. This is the Creation Museum.
Prepare to believe.
My name is Mason, and I love playing ball. I've been playing ball for about 65 years, and I've played 27 years in the Huntsman Senior Games, and it is a great opportunity to be able to continue to compete. But when I turned 80 years old, I was starting to lose it, and my legs felt like they were 100 pounds. And I was wondering what I could do to get it back. And I heard of Balance of Nature. So I've been taking Balance of Nature, and I do feel better. Taking Balance of Nature is helping me to get back to playing ball and taking care of my family and enjoying life. So I would recommend Balance of Nature to anybody because I'm excited about it. I really am. Balance of Nature works. I'm going to take it till I graduate from this life and go on to the next.
Start your journey with the best fruit and vegetable product on the market by going to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FOXNEWS.
This past school year has been filled with ups and downs, and like most parents, you may be worried your child isn't on track for fall. With the Becca Academy video lessons, your child will not only get back on track, they'll stay a step ahead. Becca's spiral learning method constantly reinforces what has been taught, so they can retain more and not lose ground or confidence along the way. Becca is faith-based, easy to follow, and used by millions, and now it's the perfect time to try Becca for free. Go to abecca.com/free trial for 25 free hours of video lessons.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/hire and get started today.
The Tempur-Pedic Breeze makes sleep feel cool. Because the Tempur Breeze transfers heat away from your body, so you feel cool night after night. Don't miss our best offer of the year with savings up to $700 on adjustable mattress sets.
Introducing Hearty Inspirations from Nutrisystem. Premium meals with double the protein and 25% more calories, so you feel full and satisfied as you lose weight. It's a science-backed plan featuring new skillet dinners that go from pan to plate in minutes. Delicious meals that fill you up, keep you satisfied, and help you lose weight. Call or go online to get Hearty Inspirations, plus free shipping.
People with moderate to severe psoriasis are rethinking the choices they make, like the splash they create, the entrance they make, the surprises they initiate. Otezla, it's a choice you can make. Otezla is not a cream.
this whole war on terrorism ordeal. And in one weekend, it's ruined over 20 years.
You know, the commander-in-chief said chaos was inevitable. Do you accept that?
No, I don't. I don't accept that. You know, I believe the reason I don't accept that is because, first of all, U.S. politicians, you know, from what I've seen in the news throughout, you know, my time watching the news, they're notorious to giving deadlines and dates and just alerting, you know, the enemy what we're doing, you know, and second, you know, the commander-in-chief just last month said that he, you know, that everything was going to be methodically a plan in place, and the departure would be met and on the deadline of August 31st. And obviously, it didn't turn out that way. You know, everything was just wrong. I mean, the troops went out first, and then there's no protection for the citizens to go out. Should have been, you know, citizens, equipment, and troops to go out, and that would have been a better way. And of course, now we had to rely, you know, the U.S. citizens have to rely on the Taliban for safe passage to the airport. You know, that's just unacceptable.
Javier, tell us a little bit about your son. I love that his given name. You named him Javier Jaguar Gutierrez. Tell us about him.
Yes. My son, he was a, you know, I know he was my son, and to me, he was the perfect kid. He was the perfect kid. In my eyes, he was perfect. I know he had his faults, but we gave him the name Jaguar because, you know, I thought, you know, I played music, and I thought maybe, man, when he grows up, I hope he, you know, he's in a rock band and he'll be able to have that stage name. Well, it turned out, no, he didn't have nothing to do with music. My daughter did instead.
And he served his country.
Yeah.
And he served his country. That was his purpose. He, as a small youth, he just wanted to join the military. He wanted to serve his country, and he joined at a time of war. And I spoke to him. The last time I saw him was December 19th. December, and the Christmas holidays in 2019. And we were in the van, and I told my son, hey, you know that you're going into a very volatile place. And he goes, I know, Dad, but this is what I was called to do.
Wow. Javier, your son was perfect, and we thank you for sharing his memory today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Fox News Alert now, a Pentagon briefing on Afghanistan coming up this hour as the U.S. military ramps up evacuation efforts in Kabul. While chaos spreads rapidly across the country in the face of the Taliban violence, we'll bring that to you live as it happens. But first, President Biden is meeting with his national security team right now to get an update on the worsening security situation in Afghanistan as thousands of Americans and our Afghan allies, in fear for their lives, try to get out before it's too late. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino.
And I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning. Just listening to the story, you know, we're coming up on 9/11, 20 years removed, and we're going to hear a lot of this about the sacrifice look, this was America's sacrifice for 20 years, and it was the war on terror, and people like Jaguar fought it for us. President Biden saying he's committed to the safe evacuation of every American out of that country. Thousands of people in Kabul struggle to escape the Taliban in that city. Wow, that's the first time I've seen that. And there'll be more videos like that throughout the day. President Biden also saying there was no way to avoid a messy exit, no matter when it took place with ABC. Roll this.
We went there for two reasons, George. Two reasons. One, to get bin Laden, and two, to wipe out as best we could, and we did, the Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. We did it.
It sounds like you think we should have gotten out a long time ago.
We should have.
And accept the idea that it was going to be messy no matter what.
Well, by the way, what would be messy?
The
exit. If we had gotten out a long time ago, getting out would be messy no matter when it occurred.
So we have Fox team coverage. Rich Edson is at the State Department. Brett Baer with reaction from Washington. Let's get to Jackie Heinrich first, though. She is at the White House. Jackie, hi.
Good morning to you, Dana. There has been considerable reporting that the president had more confidence in the Afghan military's ability to hold off the Taliban than the intelligence supported. And top military brass tried to shoot that down, saying that there was really nothing to that effect. And the president doubled down on that yesterday. Listen.
But your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was split. That wasn't true. That wasn't true.
They didn't tell you that they wanted troops to stay?
No, not in terms of whether we were going to get out in a time frame, all troops. They didn't argue against that.
Now, despite the military brass saying that there was no intelligence predicting such a swift collapse, the president also gave a conflicting message, saying that there was no consensus among intelligence reports and that the Taliban takeover was more likely to happen by the end of this year. In July, he emphatically denied a Taliban takeover was inevitable, and now he seems to be arguing that he always planned for this.
We're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said earlier this week the president still has confidence in his intelligence teams, even as members of his own party call for hearings.
To ensure safety, though no specifics beyond.
House may fear that a more robust show of force will cause the Taliban to take Americans hostage. But that concern underscores the degree to which the White House is letting the Taliban dictate the terms of the evacuation. This is a rolling humiliation. The reason I read that is last hour the Taliban put out a statement with Reuters, and they said out of Kabul they will make sure that there is safe passage for any American or anyone who wants to leave the country. Well, that's quite a gamble right now.
Well, that's right. And
You might be losing Brett's shot there. All right. I'm sure.
Sorry about that. All right, hang on a moment here. I mean, it's COVID cable, right?
But what he was going to say was probably brilliant. I did think that line last night was. All right, Brett Baer, you're still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm sorry.
Right.
Listen, the Taliban is never a trusted ally. They never have been. And the fact that we are putting our hands of getting Americans to the airport in their hands is pretty remarkable. I also think that Laura Logan earlier had this piece where she talks to the Taliban spokesperson and asked them the key question: why have you not renounced Al-Qaeda? Well, the reason is because they essentially are Al-Qaeda. Right. They're one and the same in some places. And we have to realize that by handing the country back over like this, Al-Qaeda is making a resurgence.
Right. The war on terror does not end, even if we depart. Thank you so much, Brett.
Thanks, Brett. This whole idea about not hearing from the White House today is a little astounding to me.
Well, I can only, I'm trying to think like what they would be thinking. I mean, Jen Psaki is certainly, she's not afraid to brief. She briefs almost every day, even on the tough days. It's possible that they're thinking that the Good Morning America interview that President Biden did will suffice for today. But this is fast moving. And in fact, with the time difference, as Brett just reported that there's additional chaos at the airport, I would imagine that this probably changes. You might hear from the White House later.
I would just say, based on history, in 1990, 1991, the first Persian Gulf War, I mean, we were constantly glued to the TV waiting for these updates. 2001, after 9/11, the buildup in Afghanistan, every day. I've been looking back in time, it seemed like we heard it every hour of every day. 2003, same thing leading up to the invasion of Iraq. Yeah. I mean, you have a job to communicate to the American people who are hanging on your every word to understand our fate.
But not only that, but our adversaries are listening too. So it's a good reason to keep talking.
Yeah. Situation out of control in Afghanistan in a matter of days, but it wasn't supposed to be like this. Here's Greg Palcott on the ground.
On this spot, what's being called the symbolic end of the American war in Afghanistan was declared. But for the military brass and the Afghan politicians behind us, there are many questions looming about what will happen with the Taliban.
So that was only 1 month ago. Greg was on the ground in Kabul. Quite a different scene there. Today, Greg joins us live for his reflections on what comes next. Dana?
Plus, what the British and our NATO allies are thinking as the U.S. cuts and runs. Nigel Farage with reaction from America's closest Western ally.
What does it say about us as a country? What does it say about NATO if we are entirely dependent on a unilateral decision taken by the United States?
Veteran homeowners. Mortgage rates are still near all-time lows, and home values are at all-time highs. That makes right now the best time in history to use your VA refi benefit and get cash. You could take out $50,000 or more because the New Day 100 VA loan lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value. Use that cash to pay high-rate credit card debt or plan for retirement. The New Day 100 VA loan.
Call 1-800-313-5292.
We did it again. Verizon has been named America's most reliable network by RootMetrics. And our customers rated us #1 for network quality in America, according to J.D. Power. #1 in reliability 16 times in a row. Most awarded for network quality 27 times in a row. Proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network.
This is life for migraine sufferers, dark rooms and shutting out the world. Meet Cephalid Dual, the FDA-cleared, drug-free way clinically proven to treat migraines quickly and effectively. Cephalid Dual can even prevent future migraines without medications or medication side effects. Do not use Cephalid Dual if you have a metallic or electronic head implant, an implanted pacemaker, or a wearable defibrillator, or suffering from pain of unknown origin. Side effects may include drowsiness during use, temporary allergic rash on your forehead, or low-grade headache while in preventative treatment.
Go to Cephalid.com to try the Cephalid Dual Enhanced free with no money down.
Family fitter, bath fitter. Style fitter, bath fitter. You fitter, bath fitter. We install beautiful tubs that fit perfectly over your old one with no mess or demo. Get the bath you want in a day with quality that lasts a lifetime. It just fits. Bath Fitter. Bath Fitter is hiring installers. We're a growing company with a strong culture and great benefits. Find out where you fit at joinbathfitter.com.
Oh, are you using Liberty Mutual's coverage customizer tool? So you only pay for what you need. Sorry? Limo, you're an animal!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ever better. It's when disruption hits your supply chain, and Ryder makes you ever ready with end-to-end warehouse, transportation, and logistics solutions. Ever flexible through our e-commerce fulfillment network and last-mile delivery. Ever see with innovative technology that provides real-time visibility. Ever better is not a tagline. It's our standard. Discover how Ryder Supply Chain Solutions can make you ever better.
Which looks better, this or this? Seems clear to me. Buy 2 pairs.